Hello there, my beautiful friends. Welcome back to another video. I'm so grateful that you're here. In this one, I'm making a bunch of Thai recipes, or at least trying to, experimenting with them. And what better way to get to know the ingredients and the culture and the food by playing around with these ingredients and cooking myself. So that's the goal today. And to be honest, it's always a little scary to make recipes that you're not fully confident with, or you have to look up like a bunch of different things to figure out how to make it. But that's the amazing thing about food and culture, is there's so much difference in this world, and to be able to play around and experiment is truly godsend. So because this is a what I eat in a day video, and I'm bringing you along on everything that I eat on this day, I started it off laying in bed, doing some video editing, drinking coffee. Once I got moving and grooving on my day, my plan was to make mango sticky rice, but then I didn't realize it needed to soak for like 3 hours before cooking it. So I decided to scrap that for breakfast, but have it later as like a lunch idea. But anyways, so far this morning, what I've done is rinse the rice in some running water and then put it into the pot that I'm going to cook it in, and then fill the pot with a decent amount of water to allow it to soak for, again, 3 hours. But enough of my rambling, let's get into the first recipe. Hello there, my friends. This is voiceover Julia here because I didn't realize I made a mistake. My camera was not recording audio for the first recipe, for the first little bit of the recipe, so let's just bring you along here. Before we got cooking, I mixed together some soy milk and some complete coffee protein powder from Sprout Living. I just needed a little something to get my body moving and grooving. I just felt a little shaky on this day, so I got that down, and then we pulled out all of the ingredients that we need for the first recipe. That's called pad See-Ew. I am not saying that correctly, but it's spelled P-A-D-S-E-E-E-U. But the first thing that I'm doing to prepare myself for this recipe is to soak my rice noodles. I don't know why I always leave this to the last minute, so I'm getting this done and out of the way first things first. Just adding some hot water onto those rice noodles, throwing a plate on top, and allowing them to soak. You guys have made me change my ways. I no longer boil my rice noodles, and I truly thank you for that. Now in a bowl, I'm combining 2 tablespoons worth of sugar and 4 tablespoons worth of soy sauce. And here's me explaining that this recipe calls for oyster sauce. I don't have oyster sauce because it's not vegan, but I do have oyster mushrooms, which is not the same thing, but we're gonna go for it. So I'm slicing about 4 larger king oyster mushrooms into these like little sheets, and then I'm gonna set them aside and get to the greens. This recipe is typically made with Chinese broccoli. However, I couldn't find it in the grocery store, so I'm using choy some. However, you can use bok choy, which I know is in many Western supermarkets. So if you don't have an Asian supermarket around, use bok choy. I also chopped some green cabbage and diced half of an onion. And now we're smashing, peeling, and mincing 5 cloves of garlic. This recipe is supposed to be garlicky, savory, and sweet. That's kind of the flavor profile that we're going for here. And then I sliced my tofu into these strip slice things and added just over 1 tablespoon worth of the sauce to it, just to marinate it for a hot minute before we got them into a hot frying pan. I also sliced 1 Thai chili. This recipe does not call for anything spicy. I just felt like a little zing personally, so that's why I decided to do this. After we got our tofu a little bit more brown than I would like to admit to, I set it aside and got the oyster mushrooms, onion, and garlic into the pan. And this is me explaining that I'm just keeping it moving so that way the garlic doesn't burn, because garlic burns pretty quickly, and I just wanted to keep that whole mixture moving, so that didn't happen. I seasoned it with 1 tablespoon worth of the sauce, and then we got all of our greens into there. Mix that all on up, and then we're going to strain the rice noodles that had been soaking for a hot minute while we got everything prepared. Added the red Thai chili to the pan, our noodles, our tofu, and the rest of that sauce, making sure to scrape the bottom of the bowl because a lot of the sugar will be settled on the bottom, and we want to make sure we got all of the goodness into the stir fry. Mixing it all together, and then we are ready to go. This is absolutely beautiful, silky, and saucy. And we're ready to plate. a much needed taste test. I'm super glad that I added the chili. It adds that little extra zing to the recipe. But for something I didn't really season that much, it was just the soy sauce and the sodium from the soy sauce that's really adding salt to this recipe. This is so flavorful. A massive thank you to Squarespace for sponsoring today's video. I love Squarespace because it makes it easy for you to make a unique website that stands out, even though you didn't really work that hard to do it, because they've got amazing templates for you to just use. Once you choose one of their beautiful templates, add your products, change the descriptions, and launch it once you're ready. And if you already have loyal customers, then send out beautiful email campaigns to let them know that you've built a beautiful new website. If you want to try out Squarespace, then head to squarespace.com for a free trial. Yes, a free trial. And when you're ready to launch, head to squarespace.com/JuliaAyers to get 10% off of your first purchase of a domain or website. Thank you so much to Squarespace for sponsoring today's video. To make mango sticky rice, you kind of need a couple mangoes. I've been getting mine from this woman just up the road from the accommodation that I'm staying, and they've been absolutely incredible. I've gotten a few other mangoes from a few other spots, and they're never as consistent as this woman's. So we got pay her a little visit today. You've been on my mind lately, I tell you all the time. Alright, my friends, it's time to make the scariest dish of them all today, mango sticky rice. I feel like anytime there is sticky rice involved in a recipe, it makes everything that much more difficult. It is not easy. Like, rice is something that's hard to master. There is like legitimate schools of how to make proper rice. We're using glucose rice or sweet rice for this recipe, and I've never even heard of this before, let alone cooked with it. I have no idea how this recipe is gonna go, and plus there's like a long simmering time, and these burners are the hottest that they can possibly be or off, and there's like no real middle ground. So let's give it our best shot, and if it turns out disgusting, then we're just gonna have to redeem ourselves in another video. So for this recipe, I'm literally just making what's on the back of this package. I've translated it from Thai to English using like the camera Google app. So I did not know this existed, so I'm just gonna show you. If you go to Google and you do Thai to English, or whatever language to English, or whatever other language you speak, then there's usually a camera search option, and then it will bring you to the Google app if you have it. And then you just do a little scanny scan, and then you can take a picture and it is translated to whatever language that you speak. Okay, I don't have one of these tools. I didn't read this recipe as thoroughly as I should have before starting it, but I'm just gonna make it in a pot. We're gonna cook the rice in a pot. I'm doubting everything now, but we have faith. We do. We hold it in our hearts dearly. Place your pot with your rice on the stove and add 1 cup of water. Cover with the lid and turn on to medium heat. In a separate small pot, add 1 cup of sugar and 2 cups of coconut milk. The fat of my coconut milk separated from the liquid, so I just scraped the fat out of the container, and then now we're mixing it into the pot with the sugar. And add 1 teaspoon of salt. This recipe actually calls for 1 tablespoon, but I'm scared that the translation was wrong. While the rice is still hot, I'm going to mix my coconut sugar mixture in with it. While the rice is resting, let's chop up some mangoes. It's time to eat. I'm 99% sure it's supposed to be thicker than this, but at the same time, I kind of enjoy this consistency a lot more than like a thick consistency. Like, I'm not a thick oats person. I'm not really even like a super thick smoothie person. The mango in and of itself is a little fibrous, but we're not gonna blame her for her imperfections. This is freaking delicious though. I understand why this is so popular, and it is worth the wait. I feel like there's no better way to spend an evening than to dip yourself in the ocean, have a hot shower afterwards, and then end it with a hot chocolate. So I added some oat milk to a pan and heated it. Why does that sound weird? On the stove. Added some cocoa powder, chaga mushroom powder, and reishi mushroom powder. Mixed that all together and then added some sugar to the cup, and it's gone faster than I would like to admit to. So let's make some dinner. So for dinner, I'm gonna be making a recipe called Pad Kee Mao, which I'm not saying right, but it translates to drunken noodles because it's believed that this meal should be had with a cold beer. So I may be having a cold beer with it. But it's a very similar recipe to what I made today, however, slightly different. I feel like a lot of these stir-fried recipes are similar because really what we're looking for here is that sweet and savory and spicy element, and I feel like that is just prominent in so many Thai recipes that it's hard to kind of get away from some similarities within them. But I'm not saying that's a bad thing or criticizing it whatsoever. I love this flavor profile, and this is why I love making stir fries when I'm at home. But to experiment with more quote-unquote traditional recipes is really fun for me. So we're diving into this one, and let's get cooking. Okay, so I'm gonna add several more ingredients to this recipe than any traditional recipe calls for. Hound me if you will, but I want to eat more vegetables. So I'm gonna add more vegetables to this one. Chopping 1/4 of a cabbage, dicing half of an onion. So what I'm doing here is just breaking the top and then peeling it down to remove this fibrous bit. If you have fresh baby corn, then peel off the green bits. If you have canned corn, then that's awesome too. I'm just gonna give mine a dice. Chop whatever green makes sense to go into a stir fry, whether that's bok choy or choy sum, or chop 2 red Thai chilies. Chop up 1 block of tofu in the same fashion that I did earlier in the day. Set the tofu aside. Smash, peel, and mince 4 to 5 cloves of garlic. Also, I hope you love this towel glass side of Julia as much as I do. Heat a pan with some oil. Once hot, add your tofu. Once the tofu is golden brown, remove it from the pan and set it aside. Add your chilies and garlic to the pan. Once fragrant, add the rest of your vegetables. Season with a touch of soy sauce. Collect about 1 cup worth of Thai basil. Mix together 1 tablespoon of sugar and about 3 tablespoons worth of soy sauce. Add your noodles, tofu, tired right now. But I hope you guys enjoyed today's video and got some value out of it in some way or another. If you try any of these recipes, let me know down in the comments. And if you could, hit the like button and subscribe button. It truly helps my channel out, helps me create more content and keep sharing with you guys, which I love to do. So I'm sending you so much love, and I'll see you again so very soon. Mwah.